One of the most impressive things you can do on the guitar is seamlessly mix pentatonic licks into your chord changes. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it yourself in a ridiculously simple and straightforward way. We'll be building up to it step by step in this lesson, but you'll especially want to stick around for level 2 of our application because that is when things really come online. So we've got two different pieces we need to glue together here. We've got the pentatonic part and we've got the chords part. And before we can stick them to one another, we need to know what each of these pieces looks like. So let's start with the pentatonic piece. For our method today, we'll need to make use of 3 different pentatonic positions. Our first position is literally called position 1. Our second position is literally called position 2. And our third position is actually the one behind position 1, making its official name position 5. So we're only going to need those 3 positions, and they're going to serve as our outline or border to play inside of. So let's talk about the chords. So we're in the key of C major or A minor, and we need to be able to easily locate all 7 of the chords from that key. And there are actually a whole bunch of different places and ways that you can play each of these chords within our boundaries here. But I want to make all of this as simple and straightforward as possible. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to step back and look at our 3 pentatonic positions. And we're going to get rid of everything except for the notes on the low E and A strings. Now, if we pulled up the note names for those specific notes, you can see that they match the root notes of all of our chords, except there are 2 notes missing. We don't see an F or a B, which are the 2 notes that are removed when we turn a 7-note major or minor scale into a 5-note pentatonic scale. But we do want to be able to access the chords they represent, so we're going to bring them back, not for the whole entire scale shapes, but just on the low strings here. What you'll also notice is that there are some duplicate notes that we don't actually need, and you'll understand why very soon. So each of these notes on the low strings represents the root note of a standard bar chord. So all we have to do is position our major and minor bar chord shapes so that the root notes line up, and we can play every chord in this key using these notes as our markers. So since we're in the key of C major, we'll start with the C major chord, which is right here. This represents our 1 chord in the key. It's a major shape. Then we've got a minor shape, another minor shape. Then we get to another major shape. Next up, we go down here for another major shape for the G major. Then minor. Then lastly, we have that diminished. I'm just going to do a minor 7 flat 5 shape. It's a little bit more of a useful chord shape. And then we actually have a second spot that we can play that C, that 1. I kind of like doubling up just because it kind of makes everything line up nicely. So we have another spot to play our C major there. Now, what you might have noticed is that all those bar chord shapes put our hand in the perfect position to play one of those 3 pentatonic positions. So if you look here, these 2 chords, they're both right on top of position 5. These ones, right on top of position 1. And then all the rest, right? That one, that one, that one, and that one are all on top of position 2. And we didn't need those extra notes, the low notes from the scale shapes, because that would move our hand all the way up here, and we're not worrying about anything happening in this position at all. So now, no matter which chord in the key we're playing, our hand is always in position to play a pentatonic scale in that same key. By the way, I'm going to take all of the fretboard diagrams from this lesson and put them into one printable booklet that you can grab over on my Patreon if you're interested. I make those booklets for every YouTube lesson, along with a more casual follow-up video with practice tips, next steps, and more of my thoughts for Patreon. So if you want to check that out and start getting more out of my lessons, there'll be a link to that at the top of the description. So let's put this to work. I've got 2 levels of application for you, which are both going to get you actually flowing back and forth between chords and scales. Level 1 is chord 1 to scale 1 to chord 2 to scale 2 to chord 3 to scale 3, etc. So we need to pick a random chord progression in the key. Let's go with C major, A minor, D minor, and F major. We'll start by locating all of those chords with our bar chords. And as we move through each chord, we want to pay special attention to which position we're sitting on top of. So C major is right on top of position 5. A minor is on position 1. D minor is also on position 1. And then F major is up here on position 2. So level 1 of our application just requires you to play a chord, then play any note or group of notes from that position scale, and then move to the next chord and do the same thing, then next chord, same thing. So slow down something like this. C major, then some of the scale. Next chord, A minor, some more of the scale. D minor, some more of the scale, then F major, and some of the scale up here. And then we would do the same thing over again. That's the whole idea, and it really does not matter which note you start on in the scale or how many notes from the scale you play. It's just about getting in the habit of going from a chord to a piece of the pentatonic before you move on to the next one. So let's do this one more time a little faster with the same progression. Now next, you'd want to pick a new combination of chords from the key, maybe a new tempo, and do the same thing. Now for level 2, we get to make things flow a little more smoothly by adding an extra step. So now our sequence is chord 1, scale 2, chord 2, scale 3, chord 3, etc. Let me show you this in action with the same chord progression we started with. So we're back to our C major in position right here. But instead of going straight to the A minor after that little pentatonic shape, we're going to shift, play some notes from this pentatonic shape, and then land on the A minor. So nice and slow, play the chord. Right, so you can see how I played the chord, played a little bit from this position, just a few notes, doesn't matter which ones, slid up, played some notes from this position, and then landed on my next chord. Now the next chord is a D minor, that means we're all just in that same position. Nice and easy. But our chord after the D minor is an F major, which means we're gonna have to shift up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a few notes from this position here, then we're gonna slide up and play a few notes from position up here before we land down on the F major. Like that. And then we would want to get all the way back down to our C major to start again. So that's a long way down there. But what I would do is I would play my F major, play some notes. Just like that, right? A few notes from this position, a few notes here, and then land on that. I just want to say again that while you're learning this sequence, the note you start on or how many notes you play, it honestly does not matter. We're just focusing on connecting our chords and our scales. Once you get really comfortable with the sequences, then you can start focusing more on turning your scales into something more melodic. And your next step here would be the same as level 1. You'd want to come up with new chord progressions and apply that same sequence. But I want to take this a step further and show you how you can do all of this along to an actual song. And all of this works the same in other keys as well. You just shift everything over to fit whatever key you're in. The bar chords are the same, the pentatonic shapes are the same too. You're just now playing the chords and scales that match that new key based on wherever you move to. I'm gonna talk more about alternate keys and further applications in the follow-up lesson for Patreon if you wanna join us over there. You'll also get those printable booklets with all the diagrams from every lesson as well. But if you'd rather just stay on YouTube, I'd recommend you watch this video on how to turn scales into phrases next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.